Hulk might be the strongest there is when it comes to heroes, but this doesn't always mean victory in the face of unstoppable evil. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Join me as we count down the top 10 Marvel villains more powerful than the Hulk. Number 10. Scarecrow. While Scarecrow didn't specifically take out the Hulk, he did take out the person who is often known as the Hulk in the comics, Bruce Banner. While Bruce Banner was traveling the countryside, he found himself drawn to a town via missing persons reports, a town that the villain Scarecrow just so happened to be tormenting, hence why, people were going missing. The Scarecrow had taken up residence in the town's movie theater, Emerald Cinema, and used the townspeople's greatest fears against them by forcing them to watch them play out on the movie screen. When it came to Bruce, his greatest fear that he, as the Hulk, would destroy everything was used against him and was so horrifying that it actually killed him. Fortunately, this happened during Immortal Hulk Time of Monsters issue number 1, and as is established in the Immortal Hulk series, when night fell, the Hulk returned, and this time around, a Scarecrow was no match for Bruce's vengeful green alter ego. So while initially it may have appeared as though Scarecrow was more powerful, in the end he was proven to be no match for the Hulk's true rage, which is why we're ranking him lowest on this list. Number 9. Circus of Crime. The Circus of Crime managed to best the Hulk in issue 217 of The Incredible Hulk back in 1977, although this isn't the only time that the Circus of Crime would torment the Hulk. Here the Hulk ends up befriending a circus, not the Circus of Crime, but instead the Circus of Lost Souls. However, the Circus of Crime ends up being in pursuit of the Circus of Lost Souls because they want their most beautiful member, Miriam. It turns out Miriam is a sea nymph, or siren of the sea if you will, who the Circus of Crime's ringmaster hopes will be able to lead them to treasure. The Circus of Crime successfully catch up to the Circus of Lost Souls and capture them, including their newest ally, the Hulk. The Hulk ends up being hypnotized by the ringmaster. However, while he is defeated by the Circus of Crime here, Hulk ends up fighting back later in this same issue. And when the ringmaster attempts to hypnotize Hulk again, due to his rage at Miriam being in danger, Hulk is actually able to resist being hypnotized this time around. In the end, he saves Miriam and is able to return her to the sea. Still, this wouldn't be the only time the Circus of Crime would cross paths and threaten to defeat the Hulk. Weirdly enough, Circus of Crime. Not one of the most powerful teams you'd think of, but hey, they got a leg up sometimes on Hulk. Number 8. Wolverine. I know what you're thinking, bub, but wait a minute, Wolverine isn't a villain, and while usually I would agree with you, in this instance he actually kind of was. And if you consider the Hulk and Wolverine's first meeting and fight in the comics, Logan's first appearance there made him appear initially as more of an antagonist. But the fight I actually want to focus on between these two is when Wolverine was made to become Apocalypse's Horseman of Death and faced off with the Green Giant. While Wolverine also didn't technically trounce Hulk completely, being given the option to behead him but ultimately not following through, he still won the fight technically in issue 145 of Wolverine and could have even killed the Hulk. Well, at least momentarily, as now we know the Hulk is actually immortal. In the end, Wolverine's hesitation would allow the Hulk to smash Wolverine and escape, although thanks to Wolverine's healing factor, he would also quickly recover. He gets smashed a lot in that fight actually, and he's constantly like, I'm better, I'm good, I'm Wolverine. Rah! Number 7. Bi-Beast. Bi-Beast is a weird creature. He first appeared in The Incredible Hulk in issue 169, where he actually beat the Hulk so hard that he caused him to transform back into Bruce Banner. The Bi-Beast is a very strange villain. He is an android with 2 heads, one with knowledge of fighting and war and the other with knowledge of culture and civilization. He was created by the Bird People, which were once an avian race that were related basically to the Inhumans. They ended up dying out, but the Bi-Beast lived on. Their creation. He forces Bruce to fix the once glorious, now failing machines of the Bird People's once great city. Bruce eventually would transform back into the Hulk and escape the Bi-Beast when other villains came to attack that city, but he was still bested by the Bi-Beast initially, so that is important to note. And later on in the comics, a second Bi-Beast would appear and attempt to torment the Hulk during his adventures pretty much regularly for a period of time. Bi-Beast, one that we have all forgotten. R.I.P. Bi-Beast. Number 6. Lord Armageddon. Lord Armageddon, or Lord Armageddon, is a cosmic warlord who rules over the Trojan Empire as their king. He had beef with Hulk because he blamed him for the death of his son Trauma, or Trauma. I'm just gonna call him Trauma, but just so you know how it's pronounced in the comics. that's how it is. Armageddon proved powerful enough to handily defeat the Hulk in his own book, An Incredible Hulk, which was also where Lord Armageddon made his first appearance in issue number 413, starting off, of course, with a bang. However, when he forced the Hulk to engage the device that would resurrect his son Trauma later on, and Armageddon saw that the Hulk was not reluctant at all to basically do so, Armageddon felt respect for the Green Behemoth. Instead, he opted not to kill the Hulk thanks to this newfound respect. But, you know, that was a pretty close one because Lord Armageddon's pretty nuts. He's a 90s villain, so you know how it is in the 90s. People went crazy. Lots of cool, crazy villains from that time. Number 5, Namor. Namor is more of an anti-hero than a straight up villain, but he's done plenty of villainous things in his time, and even has teamed up with the likes of Fantastic Four villain Dr. Doom, and has for years been known as a major antagonist to Black Panther, with Namor's Atlantis and Black Panther's Wakanda often being engaged in war or other such hostilities. And while many people don't think of Namor as being a powerhouse, he really is, and he deserves to be thought of that way because he is a powerhouse, especially if you try to fight him while he's in his underwater element. Don't try to do that. And yet the Hulk has done that time and time again. And guess how that has worked out for him? Well, not very well. Pretty much every time these two have gone up against one another, Namor has been the victor, with Hulk standing not much of a chance fighting Namor underwater. However, it should be noted that Namor and the Hulk have also been powerhouses together when teamed up. That is, as long as they can remain united and not get distracted by thoughts of when and how best to, betray each other, which also happens a lot with them. Happens a lot with Namor in general, I think. Actually. Number 4, Umar. Umar is the sister of Dormammu. She is known as a powerful sorceress and villain who sometimes works alongside her brother when she's not busy devising her own devious plots. She proved her power over the Hulk in a less conventional way. Their battle against one another that I'm focusing on here had less to do with fists flying and more to do with stamina. At one point, Umar gets her hands on the Hulk, with him having been trapped in the Dark Dimension during his time on the Defenders team. Instead of tormenting the Hulk, she sees potential in him and decides she'll make him her servant and possibly her paramour. The two get steamy, but Umar wins their tussle as the Hulk's passions are too short-lived for her, and he passes out after a few brief minutes, leaving Umar unsatisfied and, well, pretty unimpressed, and proving that at least her appetites are far more powerful than the Hulk's. Number 3, Dormammu. Of course, even when the Hulk was captured during the first Defender story arc of the 2005 volume that we were just talking about, Dormammu was the mastermind behind that plan, with Umar joining her power to his. So although she ended up holding Hulk prisoner and besting him in romantic combat, Dormammu was the one who successfully laid the trap to capture the Hulk and the other Defenders, defeating them, at least temporarily. I mean, the one thing with villains being more powerful than superheroes or defeating them is that in the end, we do have to follow the formula of the hero's journey, because that's kind of what superhero stories are. So while the hero may be forced to struggle and persevere against great odds, in the end, they must always come up at some point victorious. Unless, of course, we are exploring some darker reality that exists within the multiverse, but the mainstay will pretty much always come back around to a victory for heroes like the Defenders. Number 2, Thanos. Thanos beat Hulk hard during Infinity War, which narrative-wise really helped to establish where Thanos fell in terms of his power ranking in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, if you hadn't guessed, turned out to be pretty high up there. It was less of a fall and more of like a just crown. Thanos is the top, at least at that time. Especially when he had the Infinity Gauntlet in tow with any, and especially if with all Infinity Stones on it. Thanos during Infinity War runs into the Hulk right near the beginning as he is traveling with the surviving Asgardians following the events of Thor Ragnarok. However, these Asgardian survivors won't be surviving for long, as even when the Hulk tries to stand up to Thanos and fight back against him, he is quickly and easily defeated. As Hulk hurtles back to Earth when he lands as Bruce Banner in the New York Sanctum Sanctorium, his desire to warn others of Thanos' arrival is extremely urgent. And with good reason. I mean, he really just got his butt whooped there, so yeah. Number 1, Dr. Doom. I mean, of course Dr. Doom could beat the Hulk. Dr. Doom could probably beat well, just about anyone. He's so popular and so powerful and so smart. The then gray-skinned Hulk and Dr. Doom faced off in issue 320 of the Fantastic Four. Here, Doom uses his wits to take control of the Hulk, attempting to use the brute force of the hero for his own means. In this case, what Doom wanted was to retake control of his country, Latveria. In order to gain the Hulk's help, he tormented him by scrambling his brain impulses, until the Hulk finally agreed to hear Doom out, and following that, Doom used his manipulative skills to convince the Hulk to help him take back control of Latveria from the FF and go toe to toe with the Thing. Which honestly, I don't even know if you really need to make Hulk do that. I feel like you just need to be like, you should fight the Thing, and he'll be like, well, I do that a lot. We do like to fight. Which villains do you think stand the best chance of beating the Hulk? Are there any villains from outside the Marvel Universe you'd like to see him come up against? Do you think Hulk would be more undefeated were he a villain instead of a hero? And are you offended by the fact that I didn't put the leader on this list? Because I feel like some of you will be. Sorry about that, leader fans. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Say hi to me over on Twitter at VampX13. Until I see you next here, stay nerdy, YouTube.